From the tourist capital of Australia, surfers paradise, welcome to Chris Conroy's wonderful world of boats.
Hi, welcome aboard episode number 185 of Wonderful World of Boats. Now, I mentioned the episode number because today is a red letter day for us. For the last 4 years, we've been going to air in Brisbane, Queensland and New South Wales. This episode is the very first one in which we'll go to air in Sydney. Now, I'd like to welcome aboard a lot of old friends in Sydney and a lot of new viewers, and I hope you'll all join us each week, every Saturday morning, for a Wonderful World of Boats. Nestled on a berth out there somewhere in Runaway Bay Marina is a 38-foot cabin cruiser. Now, it's a product of Bill Barry-Cotter's Riviera factory, and the 38 was one of the very first boats Bill released to the market when he set up his business about 2.5 years ago. Now, in the meantime, he's released a 30, a 44, there's a 34 on the way. The reason I mention the 38 that's out there is because she's unique in that she's the only 38-foot aft cabin cruiser which planes that's available on the local market. Let's go to the water in Bill Barry-Cotter's 38-foot aft cabin. At 11.645 metres or 38 feet 2.5 long, with a beam of 13 feet 9 or 4.191 metres, the 38-footer is quite a beefy big boat. Now, she is part of a planned development and market introduction exercise by the Riviera factory, which was started around about 2.5 years ago when they were first introduced to the market. Bill spent a lot of time designing the lines of these boats so that it would be possible for him to either expand or compress the basic lines plan for whatever size hull he required. Now, the 44 looks a little different to the other hulls because she has a slightly raised deck, in other words, a curved shear line. But essentially, from the gunnels down, all of the boats share the same lines. Now, there are great advantages in that particular system, not only from the point of view of building plugs and moulds and tooling up in the factory, but there is also great advantages in that it is possible to fairly accurately predict the performance and handling characteristics and economy of the boat while she's still on the drawing board. Now, the other thing about Bill's manufacturing setup is that fly bridges for boats from, say, 35 feet up to even 50 feet can be around about the same size, so that means that there's a degree of parts commonality between the 38-footers and the 44-footers, and that also carries through to some of the cabin structure, which doesn't detract in any way from the room and the way in which the boat is set up or the appearance, but affects economies which can be passed on to the customer. And of course, that's a very important thing when you're competing in a fairly open and a fairly competitive marketplace, and there are quite a few boats on the market, both imported and locally produced, which compete on a size level with the Riviera range, but they have a very difficult time competing on it from the point of view of quality and price. And of course, the Riviera is a 100% Australian product. Now, this boat is powered by two TAMD 60 turbocharged after-cooled Volvo diesels, which could give her quite a turn of speed and which in fact give her the main quality about this particular boat, and that is that she is the only planing aft cabin boat on the Australian market today. As I said, there are displacement aft cabin boats on the market of various sizes, but none of them will actually get up and plane. The after deck is nice and roomy and spacious. She didn't have her stainless steel rails installed at this time, the actual teak on the stainless steel rails, but nevertheless plenty of room on the after deck. And of course, this is the major feature of the Riviera 38. This particular version of it is the aft cabin. Now, this is the only planing boat on the market with an aft cabin. There are bigger ones and smaller ones with aft cabins, but none of them will do what this Riviera 38 will do, and that is get up on top of the water and plane. Have a look at the size of this, beautifully lined with a velour, plenty of shelves, cupboards, stowage space around, a stereo outlet on either side there, so you've got full stereo, and what amounts to a 3/4 size berth across the back of the transom with another one over where you are. Now, it also has its own fully equipped ensuite. Around the back of this door here is the toilet, and we've shown you plenty of toilets on Wonderful World of Boats. We don't need to show you what that looks like. Beautiful little vanity, cupboard, and a tile floor so that you can use the handheld shower and use it as a shower. So it's fully self-contained. On the port side, we have another 3/4 berth, which means that this cabin can very comfortably sleep 4 people, but I'd suggest that it will be used as an owner's stateroom and, of course, sleep 2 people. As well as the cupboards built along the side there, there's essentially a hanging locker here with shelves in it, and also another cupboard up behind there. Nicely fitted flashlights, and really this boat, this aft cabin, makes this boat suitable as a true liveaboard 38-footer. Now, a 38-footer is a fairly big boat, but not generally suitable to liveaboard. With the addition of this aft cabin, it really is suitable to liveaboard. One more point. I built an aft cabin, a very small one in Sydney a few years ago, and my father said to me that the deck was too high to fish off. And I said, well, what would happen if it were a 60-footer? The ordinary deck would still be further off the water than mine is. The aft deck above this cabin is perfectly usable as a normal cockpit. It's got nice stainless steel rails around it, as you've seen. And this aft cabin really makes no difference to the general utility of the outside of the boat. Access to the aft cabin is quite easy either from outside or inside, and the companionway can actually be locked off for privacy down here, again enhancing the liveaboard capabilities of this boat. It's possible to be down in the aft cabin there and be effectively isolated from the people in the rest of the boat. Fairly standard layout in the main saloon with a beautiful convertible dinette there. The galley unit is absolutely fully equipped with a microwave stove there. She has a stainless steel sink, plenty of drawers and storage for all of the things that you need to keep in a galley, and of course she has a refrigerator and freezer down there as well. The stove has a worktop over the top of it so that you can use that when you're not actually cooking, again enhancing the amount of room that's available in an already large galley for a boat of this type. Now, because of the aft cabin layout, the forward cabin is effectively set up as cruise quarters with 1 V berth and 1 C berth, which of course can have lee cloths fitted to it so that the crew can live aboard. And on a boat of this size, which will invariably be used for game fishing and be required to be at sea for fairly long periods of time with extended search patterns, having comfortable isolated cruise quarters is a very nice thing. This is the other cabin with another 2 C berths, again, which can be fitted with lee cloths. And in spite of what I said earlier, we did get around to showing you a toilet in the aft cabin Riviera 38. There it is, right there, and it's fairly typical of the sort of toilets that are fitted to boats of this type. The Riviera 38 aft cabin is a one-off, although Riviera did make moulds for the after sections of the boat, so it is quite easy for them to duplicate that boat, and it's very nice to have a boat of this type available in 2 versions.